Right, so there's quite a pile of games here, mostly just fodder and stuff that I've been getting out now that I've been sorting through a lot of games. The only few of note that are going to be worth anything more than a few pounds. That one you might think, oh, it's an Essentials, why are you trading that in? It's because it's got the normal disc. That's a £5 trade. GT Sport, again, it might have the slipcover, but it doesn't have any of the DLC codes, and the servers got taken down at the beginning of the year anyway. So it's somewhat redundant. I know there's an offload mode, but yeah. And then SmackDown versus Raw 2007. I think this is about £4 trade. I did play some WWF, WWE games in the PS2 era day, but I'll move that on. Not that bothered about that. There's a couple of DS games I picked up recently that I was going to bundle with a console, but I'll just trade them in. Onto some of the little bit more pricey things. Picked this up on last week's video from Vinted for roughly £5. That's how we split things down. That would be an £8 voucher. This is season 7 of Game of Thrones. I got this in a charity shop. They recently had a bit of a refresh of all their stock. They still charge £1 each for like a DVD or a disc, which was crazy. But the guy says £2 for box sets. Usually it'd be per disc, but he just said £2 for box sets, which is brilliant. Because even though this is only DVD and it's only a single season, this is still £6 trade. Watch out for the later seasons, even if they are on DVD of Game of Thrones. And this is exactly the same amount of trade, £6, and it's the complete seasons 1 to 5. A decent enough looking thing. It's somewhat battered, and this is probably going to be the majority of the good stuff from Game of Thrones, to be honest. I wouldn't mind having this, but it's that DVD resolution. You know, I'd rather watch this on Blu-ray. It's probably what it's supposed to be watched on. So yeah, moving it on. And as I say, these are £2 each, so that's £4 into £12. All the discs are there, so I don't see any reason why they wouldn't take it. And the Wii remotes, which again we picked up on last week's video from Vinted, same as the Alien bundle. Because we're having to change things around, I've not managed to actually test them properly. I managed to put batteries in, and they flash, so hopefully £10 each. So this little lot, if I'm brave enough to take it all in one big bag, should be 60 plus. So hopefully I'll be taking a few little bits of B-roll, depending on how busy it is, and I will probably catch you back up here later. Right, and we're back from our little CEX trip to town Friday afternoon. A little busier than I expected, but then again, I didn't really factor in college kids and throughput of the life, that kind of thing. Excuse the possibly Halloween themed cushions my wife has brought recently. They're pretty big and comfy. Not normally a cushion person, but such is life. Right, and I just want to run through the trade-in pile that you probably would have seen maybe a minute or two ago. I didn't feel much. It was busier than expected. Still not quite there yet. I'm just whipping my phone out and getting footage, that kind of thing. But good experience in the trade-in. I didn't factor in GT Sport into my little list. I was expecting 68 if they took everything. I didn't factor in GT Sport, which is 5. So I came away with £73.80 in voucher from that sizable pile. Despite it being a little bit busier than I thought it'd be, I was able to go straight in and straight to the counter. I spent probably a good 5 minutes trading all the stuff in. They didn't need to test the Wii remotes. Whether they did it right there and then, I'm not quite sure, but it did take 5 minutes or so to get everything sorted. But I did see my favourite member of staff, and we had just had a kind of like chat, things that we're looking for, that kind of stuff, and some of the things that I was trading in, so that was good. And I only got a couple pickups today. I did go to the local pawn shop, and I was really tempted. Actually, I was so close to just going, can I have a look at these? Because I would have got them, but the staff in the pawn shop, they were already busy dealing with other people. So I just thought, nice. They'll be difficult to display. They were Star Wars Episode 1 Phantom Menace pod racers. So Anakin's pod racer and Sebulba's. Now, by the looks of it, I just had a quick eBay just to see what kind of their value they're kind of looking for. It's usually between about £10 and £20 for these figures, and I want to say they're like this long because they're pod racers. The pod's here and then the engine's here, so they're quite long. But yeah, kind of that kind of size for a figure. They're really cool. I could fit them on top of the bookcases that we now have in the game room, but I decided against it. They were $19.99 for the pair, and I couldn't see any damage. They were obviously in a cabinet. Couldn't see any damage. I was so tempted. And they had a few other things. So someone's clearly traded in some episode 1 stuff, because there was also cash converters on episode 1 stuff. On the floor they had episode 1 Monopoly Collector's Edition, and I thought that looks good. I wonder if that's worth something, because they wanted 15 quid for it, but it's not. I was over-egging it. It looks to be about £8 to £12. So I thought, nah, I'll leave it. I had a very quick browse through the games. So I was only in last Saturday, and I wouldn't say games is like their main trade or anything like that, so they don't get updated that often. I just wanted to have a really quick scan through just to see if there's anything that might have been added. I couldn't see anything. I was trying to look through Xbox One for like Dragon Ball Z, anything like that. Nothing really popped. I do have a lot of Xbox One there, but I definitely couldn't see Dragon Ball Z. Into cash converters, nothing really special in there. I did get a little bit of footage in there. They had like a, what was it? It was like they had a premium Wii U, just the black Wii U, kind of like a Lego box edition. I think that was 110, so I'm pretty sure it's pretty good for a boxed Wii U. And what else did they have in there? They had something else to take a picture of. I think they had a PS Vita for like 60 quid, or was it 50 quid, something like that. I don't know how bad that is, or good. No interest here for probably getting a Vita. It was too new for me. I never really got into that. I did have an original PSP, which was awesome. Never got too many games for it in the end. Anyway, back to the voucher. Circling back. That all went well, and I did pick up 2 games. I had a quick look on the stock check before I went in today, and they didn't have anything big. They did have Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, which is on my list currently for PS4. That's £18. I could have sworn that was 15. Unless it's 15 on Xbox, but I do want it on Xbox. I collect more for the Xbox. They're typically a little bit cheaper for that as well. And so that was a shame. No special editions, consoles or figures or anything like that I could tell just from a couple of quick checks. Nothing really stood out to me, at least in there. They've got loads of like Blu-ray steelbooks and things behind the counter at the moment, because all of the Blu-rays and things, they're all priced differently now for steelbooks. And a lot of people, whoever the companies are who make them, seem to be deciding, some idiot's going to pay for, a £50 steelbook compared to like a £5 Blu-ray, whatever it might be. Such is life. But let me show you the 2 things I did pick. So I picked up Constructor on the Xbox One. My wife mentioned this to me a long time ago, so I believe we saw that it was getting released on Xbox One. I don't know if it's a remaster. SimCity with a really bad attitude. I think it was on PS1, and she's got some good memories of this, I think, playing with her brother. And I saw they had it in stock, £4. I was like, brilliant, let's do it. Because it looked quite interesting. I think someone else recently on a YouTube video, Gentleman of Games, I think he picked up, because this whole Game Pass thing and how much it costs over the year, pick up a load of Xbox games instead of subscribing to the Game Pass, possibly that series that he's doing. And I think he picked it up and said it looked cool, and it does look good. So I'm tempted to try that myself, actually. And the other thing, which is going to give the game away for something which should have arrived by now, but it hasn't. I had to bug the vintage seller. But Star Trek Bridge Crew. Now, when this came out, probably a few years ago now, 2017? No way it's been out since 2017. I know it's PS4. 7 years. It wasn't 7 years ago that I was watching a YouTuber, because we were in this house, I'm sure we were in this house, we've been here for a few years. And basically it seems like one of these games that if you're playing with people, or if you take a role-playing aspect into it, you can make it really fun. Like, it could be quite dull and boring. Once you get past the VRness, wow, this is so cool. And when Star Trek, once you get past that, it could be about who you're playing with and just having fun. And they made it seem really fun. It was really, really well done. And we both watched those and we really liked it. So that's something that when she mentioned VR, she said, oh, isn't there a Star Trek game for VR? And I was like, what are you on about? And I had to look and I was like, oh, Bridge Crew. I'm like, yeah, we've got fond memories of watching those. She really wants to try that. So I said, no worries, it's in stock and it's £4. So I'll pick that up, and that gives the game away as to we should have a VR system. Hopefully I'll have everything when it turns up. And I had to bug them. I think I picked this up on Monday on Vinted. think the description said it'd only been out of the box a few times, but you don't really know Vinted, so I'm expecting it to be in very good to like new condition, which is why I paid pretty much the going rate for it. Because a lot of the used ones, you see people selling it and there are pictures of the headband, and the headband will be all flaky. And I'd preferably like to pick one up that's still decent, because once it's flaky, you know it's because of the person's like sweat or whatever, and it's been rubbing, and obviously the quality's not there to not degrade, unfortunately. So yeah, I picked that up. They did have Doom VR. I looked that up at the start of the week and it's got really kind of mixed opinion. I think people said play it on a controller. A lot of the VR stuff is a case of have a go if you have the controls, but other than that, maybe play on a controller, which seems kind of like a halfway house, so I'll have to try that when it gets here, if all is well. But yes, I had to bug them. It's now Friday, I'm recording this, and I pay for this possibly Monday or Tuesday. So I was really worried because they hadn't even got the postage or anything. So I was really worried it's just going to auto cancel. I'm sure after about 3 or 4 days, Vinted will just auto cancel it if the seller hasn't done anything. They got back to me really soon saying, really sorry, I've not had the car. I'm going to get this to you today, or at least get it dispatched today. And I said, you know, I was just worried that it's going to be cancelled. I was just making sure that you knew of it and that you weren't just going to let it cancel for whatever reason. So yes, that one's going to be ready. I'm not aware of what kind of library there is for the PS4 VR. I know there's a lot of stuff which is VR compatible, and I know that there's more stuff which is specifically for the PSVR. So the selection for specifically for the PSVR doesn't seem to be that big, but there's at least a few games I'd like to get and try out. So made a start, even though I haven't yet got it. Brilliant. So yeah, not bad, nothing amazing. But as I said, I was popping on a Friday afternoon. By the time I got into town, it was gone 4 o'clock, and I think I was out within an hour, so not bad at all. And that's done now. There's no like, oh, I need to go into town, or if I'm missing out on something excellent, we can forget that now. So I know that I've mentioned recently that I was going to do a CEX Voucher update and actually start a running tally, at least of the videos that it's not crucial, it's not important, relevant for. At least the videos that it's relevant for, I'll keep like a tally maybe in the corner. This one, that one, and that one, whatever's easiest. And I have just totted it up thanks to the power of a calculator and some foresight. Excuse no glasses. So I already had 59.60 a while ago. I've completely forgotten how I got that. 32 from a couple of DualShock 3s. 16.60 from the games that I traded in at the same time, but did the games and then did the DualShocks because I had to wait for the DualShocks. And then today I got 73.80. Now I don't know if anyone's really good at quick maths, but have a go. Maybe comment it below. And wow, that comes to £182 exactly. Not much that. Apparently £182 I have in CEX Voucher, so I can nearly afford any one particular thing on my list. And we're talking about white PS3 Slim, white Xbox 360, Death Stranding PS4 Pro, but that is at $230. Unboxed is $190. And I need to do a small update about the DJI camera. Unfortunately, I'm not sure if I'll do that in a short, but well, whilst we're here, I'll mention it here anyway. Going back to my list video, I had a DJI Osmo Pocket on that list for $170. Now, thanks to the CEX title description, it says DJI Osmo Pocket 3-axis gimbal, whatever, and I was taking it as Pocket 3-axis gimbal, because I don't know anything about cameras and gimbals or any of that kind of nonsense. Not nonsense, I just don't know about it. And I looked into it thinking, hang on a minute, this seems cheap. I know it's not the creator combo and it's just the camera by itself. This seems cheap. So I had a look at it and was like, it'd be nice if there's some sort of hyphen there. That's a DJI Osmo Pocket 3-axis gimbal. Because they have the, if you keep looking under just Pocket or whatever, they have the free for like 400 and something, and then creator combos for like 580 and 600 and something, which is insane because I think a new one will run you about 500-600. So I don't CEX used price is not there at the moment, at least. So yeah, I was like, damn, I've ballsed that up. So I started reading the reviews just to see if the original one would still be good enough. It looks like it's a 2018 device, so my first thought is, if that's been heavily used, battery's probably going to be done for, which is going to be no good for vlogging. And also, I would like to use it, if I get something that expensive, I'd like to use it for the setup, so it's on some sort of tripod, as well as vlogging. And the original one doesn't have any sort of screw-in base for a tripod at all. So I just thought, okay, well, let's write that one off completely, because it's going to be hard to find one which is still good. And how the reviewers basically said that it's kind of, we're looking at kind of phone grade, smartphone grade kind of sensors and things, but that the stabilization and obviously the software to go with it is really good. So the hardware is kind of smartphone. So if you think in 2018, that's a long time ago. I don't even know what generation iPhone or Galaxy that would be, but in phone terms, that's pretty old by these standards. So I looked up the Pocket 2, and that sounds much more of a good fit for me. And the creator combos look like they go for 250 starting. 300 would probably secure you a decent one, and they only came out a couple of years ago, so I'm much more confident in that. Read the review. It seems to take a lot of the issues with the first one and correct them, or at least go some way to correct them, and they're still really like small devices by the looks of it. So if I can find a good condition one with all the combo attachments, I think it's like a microphone, a tripod, possibly like a battery and a case and all that kind of stuff, the things that are potentially actually necessary. Yes, they seem to run about 250, 300. So I've now updated the list. Unfortunately, CEX, for whatever reason, they don't actually list a 2. I don't know why, only the 1 and the 3. I don't know why they don't list a 2, but I can't build a CEX voucher towards it. Now, a happy coincidence, eBay have started doing similar to Vinted, in that if you sell something, it goes into a wallet. Rather than you just getting paid out the next day, it goes into a wallet, then stays on eBay, and you have to request the funds. And I'm sure it just turns up and like immediately, nothing dodgy going on. It's just how they want to do it, because they want to incentivize people to sell. Private sellers is now no fees. So I'm sure there's a bit of a watchdog going on there, a big brother for people who are selling a lot of stuff. So I'm a bit hesitant. So I have a lot of gaming stuff that I've just accumulated. Even if I just whacked it all on, you know, I could probably easily put like 8 consoles on eBay like that, you know, assuming that I tested it all and everything, and probably not miss them, because I've just accumulated so many from like used, or maybe not even boot sale, charity shop, or whatever it might be, or cheap. I'll probably get like eBay saying, "Oh, you're a seller, you're not private." So yeah, I don't want to get a massive page of just like loads of gaming stuff, so I'm just doing a little bit now and again. Possibly cut this bit out. But yeah, what they want to do is get people on there to sell, and then that money's there in a wallet, so then to buy something, which makes sense. And seeing as I'm not doing that or anything like that as a job, this is purely slimming down my collection at the moment. So if I make some money from it, great, it makes life a little bit easier. But if I can put that aside and treat it separately, I can build that eBay wallet up and put it towards this camera now. £300 would take me a long time unless I really did whack a lot of stuff on all at once. It takes a long time, so I don't just want to just take some pictures and whack it on eBay and go, it worked a year ago, or untested, or not sure. I want to plug it in and take some pictures of it working, just so I can achieve at least a decent competitive price and not have to like undersell it massively. I don't need it gone this second. It'd just be nice to build up a voucher, not a voucher, an eBay wallet balance, an eBay balance. I don't know what bit will be the trigger point where I go, I'm going to use that and plus a little bit, because 300 will probably take me at least 6 months of just like selling stuff. There's always things around the house that need to be sold, rather than obviously donated if it's not worth a huge amount or something. I can't be bothered the hassle of it. Like my wife's old shoes, just decided to get rid of like a big box full of shoes. there's probably a little bit of value in there. Donated the next day, and guess what? Today, going away for a couple of days. Oh, well, have you already donated those shoes? I could really do with a pair of those. I thought I was being really proactive. I took those shoes and I took them the next day. Yeah, well, whatever. Such is life. But from sorting out some of her things, now that she's got a little bit of a setup in the shed, she's gone through and said, you bought me these, like a glue gun and some other bits and pieces like that, where she does some of her crafting, creativity things. And she's just never used it, and just said, if you think you can get something for this, go for it, basically. You know, it's more than likely that I bought it for her in the first place anyway, so I can at least share that money if we get something back from it. So yeah, so hopefully I've now got a CEX voucher balance. And maybe I could put an eBay balance up as well at the same time, assuming it's relevant. I won't have it up all the time. A lot of people have like Gentleman of Games. I really like his channel and what he does, and his little loft space like right next to the hatch. Seems a bit of a health and safety issue. A cash and a voucher balance. I think mine might be an eBay balance rather than a cash one. So yeah, it's a little bit annoying that happens, but also it's a happy coincidence that I can build a eBay balance without having to go, that's £300 coming out of my bank balance. You know, the money that I build on the side through eBay can be for that, which is nice. Because there's probably some stuff that I'm doing wrong. The lighting, because of the lights in here, it's nighttime, obviously it's the UK, it's like 7 o'clock, it's dark. It's probably going to be a bit yellow. I'm hoping now that I'm using the back camera, which should have some decent sensors on it, that hopefully I'm not moving too much, this should be a good picture. I'm taking the videos either with the front or the back, and then when I'm looking at them, when I'm going through it, they look perfectly fine, the quality looks decent. And then I'm running it through I'm obviously editing it, and then once I run it through the renderer and then upload it to YouTube, and it actually gets onto YouTube, if I look at it, I'm going, bloody hell, the quality of that looks awful. It looks like I'm upgraded. It looks like I'm filming it in some sort of like 480 grainy camera from about 10-15 years ago. So I'm not quite sure what I'm doing wrong there. And that doesn't necessarily mean that I need to jump up to like a proper vlogging camera that could be worth hundreds and hundreds of pounds. That's probably not just going to instantly solve it. It might just be more about me learning about how to actually light a scene. I don't know anything about that. You know, ultimately, I'm just trying to take some videos with my phone of a gaming collection. So I popped into the charity shop. I finished at lunch today, I had the afternoon off. I popped in the charity shop afterwards, and I was just having a browse. The same one that I picked up those Game of Thrones DVDs last week, just to see if there's anything new on the shelf. Quite close. And I did find a How to Train Your Dragon trilogy box set. I was like, so often, like, you know, just DVDs, it was just a DVD. They'd only be like a quid or two, but I actually put it into the app and it was £8 they charged for it. So that would have been a £4 voucher. It would have only cost me £1. And they had a couple of nice like special editions with maybe not like slip covers, but like sleeves, like proper cardboard sleeves of Resident Evil, Degeneration and Titanic, believe it or not. And it's just really nice card sleeve for it. I don't mind collecting a bit of physical media. There's just a little bit something extra special about the way it's presented, at least. But unfortunately, that How You Train Your Dragon didn't have one of the discs in, so I was like, well, I'm not going to bother then. I'll put them back, and I just left. There's nothing new in there. There's no interesting electricals, nothing else, no games. They've probably got about 20 plus games in there now, but it's all FIFAs and some old F1s, none of them worth anything at all. So no other charity shop that I can go to locally I can rely on to even have games, unfortunately. So it's kind of, if I do a big round trip and try to go to all the charity shops, even with, if I don't have any children, I can go on a day when all of them are open. That'll probably take me 2 to 3 hours, assuming I'm relatively swift. I have got a lot of charity shops in the local area, but barely any I can rely on to actually find anything cool or interesting, or that aren't trying to price match with eBay, despite therefore requiring someone to come into the shop looking for that specific thing, and they might have undercut eBay by like 10%. It's a bit like, come on, eBay's global. Your charity shop is maybe 100 people walking into the shop a day. You know, and it's why they can't take any more donations, because they can't shift anything, because they've got the wrong mindset. They're trying to maximise value out of anything they think has value. So many of them will send stuff straight to eBay if it does have value. You know, video games, if it's not a cheapie, it goes to eBay. So some of this picking up for CEX Voucher or flipping and stuff, all that kind of things, or finding stuff on the cheap just to add to your collection, it's not quite a thing of the past, and it really takes a lot of that energy and passion away from things when you start thinking like that. You can still find some decent stuff. Only a month or two ago, I walked into one of them off the off chance in town. I usually don't even bother in my town charity shops because they're usually just nothing at all. And I actually found Need for Speed Most Wanted on 360, and it's in good condition. At the time, CEX wanted like £52 for that. Right, fantastic, that's awesome. I pop in there most times now, and I've not found anything since. But you have to go in just to have a look to see if they do have something. You know, I'm not in at like, you know, I'm not into all these places. I don't know all the staff or asking out in the back room. Not that familiar. Only the one that I've been to today. The guy, but he's completely savvy. I think he recently had like a Game Boy Advance with a handful of games. He brought out the games. I don't think they're anything special. If they piqued my interest, I would have been interested. But he said, you could take a little bit less than what he reckons he can get on eBay. You reckon for a Game Boy Advance and a handful of box games, he reckon he was looking for 150. And I think he said he would have taken 120 off me that day. I said, no, I can't do that. I don't have that kind of money to spend on something that isn't my focus. It's an Advance, so it's kind of like the unloved child. It's not a Game Boy Color, and it's not an SP. So, yeah, I just passed up on that. And there's not a lot you can come across sometimes. And it's like, well, I've got my free time. If I've got a couple of hours, yes, I could do it all. And then what if I find anything? What if I don't find anything at all? Is that just time wasted? You know, could I be doing better things with that time? Anyway, right, so I think I'm going to round that one up here. Just the trade-in, just a couple of light pickups today. I've got some bits and pieces coming. Obviously that VR thing's going to be the main interest and a fair bit of money. I have got some other stuff to film as well, but I didn't want to put it into bigger video. It takes a lot longer to edit. I'm doing it on my laptop at the moment, which isn't like, it's only budget. It takes a while to edit. So yeah, a bit of a short one today. It's probably still going to be 15 minutes. Yeah, but thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, leave some comments. See you in the next one.